Hello everyone, today I'm going to be making groundnut soup or peanut soup as we call it here. This soup is a staple in most African cuisine and we also have it in some other cultures as well. But the way we make it in Africa varies from country to country and also from family to family. So today I'm going to be showing you how I make my own version of the peanut soup. I have here groundnuts or peanuts, of course. I have crayfish, spinach, onion, habanero, tomato, red bell pepper, ginger, stock cube, salt, palm oil, and my choice of meat today is beef and smoked turkey thigh. The first thing I'm going to do is to boil the beef. And I'm just going to season this with some salt, followed by seasoning cubes. I'll also be adding some onion. I used one onion and I divided into two. This is half of it. I'm going to be using the second half later. I'll also throw in one habanero pepper. And I'll also be grating in about 2 teaspoons of ginger. Finally, I'm going to be adding enough water to cover this meat, and this is going to give me enough stock to work with. Now cover this up and allow it to cook for some time. So while that is cooking, I'm going to be roasting the peanuts. You can actually use the raw unroasted peanuts for this and roast it by yourself. But today I'm just going to be using the already roasted peanuts because that is what I can get. And the reason why I'm re-roasting this is just to help the nuts to release all its oils easily once it's blended. Now the nuts are done and well browned, but before I blend them, I'm just going to set them aside for about 1 or 2 minutes to cool down so as not to damage my blender. I'm going to be using a coffee blender to blend these nuts, but you can also use a spice blender, and if you don't have that, you can do it manually by using a small pestle and mortar to just crush it up. The next thing I'm going to be doing is deboning this turkey thigh, and I'll also be cutting it into bite sizes. If you choose not to add crayfish to this stew, because I know some people don't like it, it's very good to add smoked turkey or any smoked fish. You can also use stockfish as well. It helps to heighten the flavor of the stew. So this meat has been cooking for about 10 minutes now. I'm just going to stir in the smoked turkey, and I'm going to continue the cooking process until the meat becomes tender. So what I'm doing right now is just cutting the peppers, tomatoes and onions into little bits that my blender can handle. Once this is done, I'm going to be blending everything together with the habanero pepper that I previously added to the boiling meat. And I'll also add a little bit of water. Now this is done and I'll be setting it aside as well. The beef has been cooking for some time now and it's now well cooked. I'm just going to be stirring in the blended peppers. And at this point, I will also be adding the crayfish and some palm oil, which you can replace with groundnut oil. You can also use cayenne pepper in place of these fresh peppers that I used. It's totally up to you, but my advice is for you to use fresh peppers because the fresh peppers will make the stew come alive. It also blends so well with the peanuts and it creates a more pleasant taste. Once the stew is well cooked, you can now stir in the blended peanuts. Mix this together thoroughly so that the peanut powder can dissolve in the stew as much as possible. Once you are done with this, cover up the stew once again and allow it to thicken up. And remember to check this stew like every 5 minutes or thereabouts to prevent the stew from burning. And by the way, I'm cooking this on a low to medium heat at the moment. So this stew has been cooking for about 12 minutes now, and I think I'm okay with the consistency at the moment. If by any means your stew is thick, feel free to add more stock or water to loosen it up. Finally, I'm going to be adding a little bit of spinach to this, and you can use sweet potatoes as well, or carrots, or even any other vegetables of your choice. Leave this to simmer again for about 1 to 2 minutes, and then we can take it off the heat. As you can see, the consistency of this soup is not so watery, and at the same time is not so thick. If you choose to eat this with swallow like pounded yam or semolina, you might need to make it a little bit thicker. And if you are going to be serving this up with rice, just as I'm going to be doing today, I think this consistency is just fine. And that is it. Thank you all for joining me again today. If you enjoyed this recipe, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. Until next time, I'll talk to you shortly. Enjoy.